Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name is Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Well, firstly, to our Christmas, and as with a lot of things in 2020 and 2021, things did not go quite to plan. We ended up having to postpone our Christmas day because Adam had one of his work colleagues test positive to COVID. So we had to wait for him to get a negative test. So we made sure that we didn't see anyone for those few days around Christmas time, which was really disappointing. We had everything planned and we didn't find this out until about 9:30 on Christmas Eve. So we had to call mum and dad and tell them not to come. We had all of the food bought and in the fridge ready to go. So we got a negative result quite quickly, and then we decided that we would reschedule our Christmas to the Thursday. So we celebrated almost a week after actual Christmas Day. We wanted to kind of do it in that week if we could, because we want to be able to take the tree down once New Year's comes around. And we were just a bit sad and wanted to be able to do it, which is a bit funny for us because we've never actually been very traditional in terms of our family and Christmas time. And we have celebrated Christmas on New Year's before, just because that's how things had worked out with travel and other family plans and all of that kind of stuff. So I think if it had been planned differently, then it wouldn't have felt weird. But because we'd set aside Christmas Day as a special day to be all together, when it didn't happen, it really felt sad and weird. So yeah, that's what happened to us this Christmas. I don't know, it happened to a lot of other people. And I think it's part of this whole COVID normal that we're now going to have to deal with. But in the end, we had a really good day. We had a lot of fun opening presents and watching other people open the presents that we had bought. We were really thoughtful about the gifts, but also very creative and fun in our wrapping. As I talked about last week, we have chosen a challenge of not buying any new paper, and it's about wrapping in whatever you have. So there was some Christmas paper, but there was also a lot of very creative boxes and packaging, and it was fun to sort of reveal what was inside those boxes. And often it was not what was said on the outside of the package. We played some games on the Switch together, which was really fun, and we played a fun challenge game with like balls and cups and dice, where you had say whether you were able to do the challenge, and then you won tokens if you were able to do it. And that was hilarious. We had so much fun. So in the end, as a family, we had a really good day, and it was, I think, the Christmas that we were all kind of hoping for. It just didn't happen on the day that we had originally thought it was going to. Summer has certainly hit. It is really hot. It's going to be 38 or 39 today, and it was yesterday, and I think it will be for the next couple of days. I really don't like these hot days. So I'm recording early, but it is already really warm. And then I'm going to retreat back to the house to be in the air conditioning to finish up doing all of the editing. Well, here we are at the start of a new year. I wonder what 2022 is going to hold after the last couple. It's really hard to kind of want to plan or set out really solid goals or anything. And I'm not one for doing big New Year's resolutions, as I've talked about before. That whole get fit, I don't know, go on a diet, go to the gym, all that kind of stuff. I'd much rather prefer to take a look back at everything that I have done in 2021 and see the positives, the negatives, and try and reflect on what I would like to do more of in the new year. And just take a bit of time to stop and be grateful. Doing these weekly videos has certainly given me a perspective on just how much can be done in a year. You kind of breeze through and you don't really realize everything that was the year. So this has sort of been my journal and my way of keeping track of everything. So it is absolutely crazy to go back to the start of 2021 and sort of flick through the episodes and see just everything that happened here on the farm, all of the creative stuff, all of the things that have happened in my business, and how that has now built on the achievements that have been done and what I can look forward to in the coming year and years ahead. If you want to go back and check out the year that was, there will be a full playlist in the description box below. I have done a little bit of going back over some of those old episodes this past week, and I am just amazed at how much has happened. So again, 2021 was full of lots of challenges and COVID lockdowns again, but the start of last year was actually, we were all out and about and we got lots of things done. So I had Mary from Wow Crochet Designs come and visit the farm, and I appeared in an interview on her YouTube channel. We went away as a family to a log cabin in the mountains. I took a week away at Creswick. I bought my secondhand spinning wheel. It was the year that I heard the really weird noises coming from the vineyard across the road. And if I hadn't have recorded them, I'm pretty sure that the rest of the family would have thought I was going absolutely nuts. We had a lot of really stormy weather, including 2 long power outages, and that time that I almost got hit by lightning. We built the chook trailer, we sprayed a ton of blackberries, and I bottle fed Hurley, and I now have my little flock of Hurley, Vito, and Evie. There was a lot of other stuff, but there were the highlights that I pulled out. And I am really proud and happy of everything that I have done here on the farm this year. So given everything that happened in 2021, what is 2022 going to hold? Of course, there'll be plenty more blackberry spraying. We need to spot spray in all of the paddocks and then try and tackle some of the bigger areas over in the bush that we didn't get to at the start of last year. There are a few things that need doing around the shed, like finishing installing the wood fire stove, doing some mulching and adding to the garden, and the ever continuing job of weeding. I didn't get around to planting summer vegetables this year. I just don't know where the time went when everything reopened. It just didn't get to that one. But so get some vegetables in. I want to plant more garlic. I want to get herbs growing over here. So there's some work to be done on the veggie patch and the garden in general. Obviously, the sheep are going to continue to grow and get bigger, so there will be tracking their lives, and there will be shearing to be done in 2022 as well, which will be interesting for their first time. So that's just off the top of my head about things that I know that are going to come up, that are going to happen around the farm. But as you've seen from now going into my 4th year of doing this, there is always something new happening here. We are building, we are changing, we are cleaning up, whatever it happens to be. So I'm sure that there will be plenty of more adventures to come and things that we haven't even thought of yet. For Passion Flower, my business, 2021 was a really big year. I filled my first wholesale order. I created a lot of new colorways. I was a stall holder at the Big Wool Show, and I taught my first sock knitting classes at Unwind. So a lot happened. So there is a lot of potential for what is going to continue to happen, which is really, really exciting. My workshop space and my office is all set up exactly how I like it. And I find that I've got a really good workflow happening here. So from that point of view, I'm really happy. What I would like to do is some more behind the scenes dyeing videos, perhaps try and do some lives here from the shed, although the internet can be extremely patchy. So I might actually have to come up with an internet solution for the shed before that happens. I like to do some more technique and tip videos for both dyeing and knitting. So if there's something you're interested in seeing, perhaps just drop a comment below and I can try and do a video on that. I'd also like to write some more patterns. I've got my ridge scarf pattern and I've got my cowl neck poncho pattern as well. So I've got a couple of ideas for cowls and shawls. They are a lot of work, but the ideas just keep floating around in my head. So I need to get that down at some point. It may not happen in 2022, but it's something to sort of keep in the front of my mind. I did a lot of knitting this year. I finished 3 pullovers, the radiate, the flax, and the Maori Teo. And I also completed the crossover cardi as well. I did at least 9 pairs of socks. I lost track a little bit. I wasn't putting them into Ravelry as religiously as I've done previously, but I think I captured them all. And that includes the pair of Colorwork flamingo socks that I made for my sister that I'm really, really proud of. Spinning wise, I finished my biggest project so far, which was that kaleidoscope box, which is the best spinning I have done and I'm really happy with. So hopefully in 2022, you see me knitting that up into something really lovely as well. I feel like I am beginning to feel comfortable with what I have been able to teach myself spinning wise. So I might be looking at taking some classes this coming year. I'll just see what's available and the time that I have. But that's something that I'm interested in, even if it ends up being like a YouTube video or something that I watch and try a few different new techniques to just broaden what I'm able to do with both of my spinning wheels. I'm really enjoying my craft at the moment, having spent some time in 2021 to rearrange and really look at my stash. I feel like I sort of now have a bit more direction in terms of how I'm going to continue moving forward. I have found yarn that I've wanted to work with from my stash, and I have been inspired by projects that I had in my queue. So I'm going to sort of continue to combine that together and work through hopefully some projects that I have had the pattern for quite a while, or the yarn for quite a while, to just be really mindful of using what I have and remembering the things that I had actually liked and wanted to do rather than continuing to try and find new things as well. I'm also really excited about the potential of the acrylic painting. I've got those 3 canvases ready to go, and I am excited to experiment and create some art with those to hang on my wall. Now, a quick update on my current crafting. I finished the last pair of striping socks that I was working on. These were the ones where I had a little bit of scrap yarn left over. So I took the one that I didn't have much yarn left for off the needles, and I finished the one that had more on the ball. And I just kind of went up another lot of stripes. I didn't want to go too far because I didn't have that much. I'd weighed it, but then sort of thought that it would finish neatly on a particular color so that I could then start the second sock. This was the second one, in this light color, so that it sort of matched up. So I knit up until the light, cut it, started in the light, and then went until I was about the same amount in the stripes. So I had a little bit left of that ball of yarn. It'll go into my scrap box and it will end up being used in a blanket or some little scrap project. But I now have a pair of socks that sort of came out of not much yarn at all, which is really great. So I started another pair of socks, this time with the opal yarn that I bought from Unwind just a few weeks ago. There's the label there, and it's supposed to stripe up. It shows you on the back. But I wasn't sure what the striping pattern was like. I'd like to try and start the toe between colours so that I can then match the stripes for the second. I had trouble figuring out where that was going to be, and I didn't want to waste a whole lot of the yarn. So I ended up just casting on wherever. And as you can see so far, there hasn't been a repeat in the colours. So the stripes sequence is going to actually be quite big. I'll see if I can notice where there is a repeat. So back to this like bigger section of grey. And then I will try and knit to just before that for this single sock, so that I can kind of replicate the second one. That probably won't work out 100%, but then maybe for a second pair out of this big ball, I will be able to match up the stripes a bit better. I was so close to being able to call the Yellow Brick Rodeo pullover done for 2021, but it's not quite there. So at the moment, I've got it on a bigger cable so that I could try it on. That's the back. There it is there. I have done the ribbing on both of the sleeves. I just need to weave in my ends. I have fixed the catch on the back, so they now look all similar across there. You really can't tell where I made that mistake. And I have a little bit more length to do in the body. According to the pattern, I should have stopped a long time ago, but I've tried this on and it is way too short for me. I think it's probably written to be slightly cropped, but I'm not one for wearing crop tops. And also I think that my stitch height is probably shorter than the gauge called for. So I am going to keep just sort of knitting a little bit and trying it on. As you can see, now that it's off the needles, it actually does fit. It doesn't look like a little tiny doll outfit. And I really, really love it. It's going to be awesome to wear with like a linen skirt or some shorts. So a little bit left to go, and then it'll be the ribbing. I do have some blue yarn, the same as this Hobby Unicorn Solids, which I am considering then casting on a second one of these in the blue and choosing from my stash a contrast color that would go with it. So that will be fun to choose the contrast color. I've really enjoyed knitting this and it's come up really quickly. So I might consider casting that on straight away after this, or I might give it a little break, wear this one and see if maybe I want to go up a size or change anything before I cast on for another one. I might go back through some of my other whips early in the new year, maybe show you where I'm up to with those, the ones that I haven't touched in a little while, and make some decisions about whether I'm going to continue with those projects or rip them out. And then I am sure I will be inspired by my yarn and my pattern collection to cast on lots of things in the coming year. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.